You guys who follow the channel for quite a while know that one of my biggest complaints about Hollywood is the fact that they can't do romance anymore. I mean, look at the classic Disney movies that men and women liked and how wholesome they were. It just doesn't happen. In modern entertainment, we just do not have that. And I think anime is doing a great job at picking up the torch. There's a lot of anime romance that is able to move the audience and make you experience a lot of emotions. But unfortunately, you don't have this with Western entertainment. So the question is like, why is it? And I think Esoteric Dubs managed to analyze exactly why the girl boss can't be a waifu. Like she literally has no place in a relationship setting. And when Hollywood tries to make the girl boss be viewed as desirable, they utterly fail. The girl boss could be an excellent employee, she can be an excellent friend or a boss, but like she can never be a significant other. And here is why. We are taking Dune as an example here, and the opening poster, Esoteric Dubs, is congratulating it for its amazing cinematic performance. He's basically saying that, look, you can actually use CGI in order to create beautiful environments, and the actors themselves are very convincing. So he's got a lot of praise for the movie. He's saying that the Freemen were effectively depicted as superhuman Taliban, and take into account that when the book Dune was written, the Taliban were fighting against the Soviets, and America had a different view of them at the time. So yeah, like he's basically saying that every single plot point from the book is being faithfully recreated, and that's great, except for the romance interest. And the problem, like when you look at the romance interest, the first thing that you see is that she is not anything like the Hollywood stars of old. Like the Hollywood stars of old would be like, all right, we got a country with 365 million people. Let's find the most beautiful woman. Someone that no one can compete with. Like she doesn't look like your next door neighbor. She looks like a star. That's why it was called like they're stars, right? And the actors themselves, like when you look at the actors, they look imposing. They look badass. But when it comes with female characters, they look average and plain because this is what they consider to be representation. And you know how the actresses look like on the red carpet? And they have an entire makeup team. They have an entire group of people that are there in order to plainify them, to make them look as plain as possible. And you know, like they have story justifications. I mean, well, it's the desert. Like she has to look like that. I mean, but the problem is it takes away from the fantasy element. Because at the end of the day, it's a fantasy thing. Like, you're supposed to live the romance with the person, and the audience isn't in the desert. The audience isn't suffering from the scorching heat and the mud. And, no, like they expect to see something that would captivate them. But okay, you know, you don't want to lean into that. Like, that's fine. Although you notice Star Wars does the same. You notice a lot of other movies does the same. Like, they look at what these actresses wear on the red carpet. They look at how they dress in real life and they say, okay, we'll have none of that. None of that. We're going to make them look like the HR hag. And it's like, all right, you know, fine. Orville does things differently. That's why a lot of people like the TV show. The female cast there was gorgeous and very attractive. I think Hunger Games, Hunger Games with their main character was also a really good pick. You can have a post-apocalyptic universe and still lead into the aesthetics and femininity, but alright, they don't want to do that. So surely, like, she will make up in personality, right? I mean, like, okay, the aesthetics are kind of meh, but the personality is going to be there. And as Esoteric Dubs explains, Darcy test is important because in a good romance story, the women in the audience must see the male lead as desirable, but needing to make amends. Chani instead, upon meeting Paul, decries his poor skills at sneaking through the sand. Unlike in the Herbert books, Chani keeps insulting Paul, and unlike in Pride and Prejudice or The Empire Strikes Back with Han versus Leia, Paul never effectively tames the shrew or even tries. So this is like an interesting aspect that you see in very good romance stories. I mean, The Taming of the Shrew by Shakespeare, where you have this woman that is also incredibly disrespectful, rude, aggressive towards the male romance lead. But the way the male romance does things is that he has rebuttals to her. He manages to prove himself as a man to her. He manages to show that he is useful. He manages to return her jokes. And then she slowly starts to fall in love with him. And her aggressiveness starts to fall down. You notice this in anime as well. What was like the last one that I saw which tried to depict some romance? I think it was called Jobless Hero Reincarnation, where the love interest is this red-haired who's an aristocrat. She's got everyone bowing at her feet because of her social status. She's incredibly aggressive, like likes going adventuring, is very tomboyish, and looks at the main character with disdain, looks at the main character with disgust. But like something happens, they get teleported elsewhere, she's away from her family, she's away from the life she grew up. Now she has to lean into the main characters for expertise on how to survive in the wild. And they have these wholesome adventure together, and you as the viewer gets to look at that, and you get to feel emotions. You want to see them succeed. You want to see them get through the issues. Here, it's like it's just a mean-spirited lady that constantly attacks the main character, and when they eventually fall in love, it feels so fake. Like, they don't really seem to have anything in common. If anything, Paul is taking this lady out of pity because there's no one else that he can pick from, so he's, like, constrained by the circumstance in being with her. It's a very selfish story. Like, if she existed in real life, she wouldn't be able to have a loving husband if she behaves like this, right? Because at the end of the day, what they're trying to portray is hookup culture, not romance for the purpose of starting a life together. Like, the idea of starting a life together means that a couple needs to complete each other, not compete with each other. So, what a man lacks, a woman has, and vice versa. And this is what great love stories are. What modern Hollywood is depicting is like hookup culture. Like, the girl is the girl boss. She has everything. The man doesn't even know where he fits in that picture. And the only reason they're together is to fuck. Right? There is no, like anything beyond that seems unrealistic, because it's like, well, why does she need to settle down? Why does she need to, right? They also never focus on raising kids. That's another thing. But I feel like this is the core of the essence. Like, you can have a female character that is rude to the protagonist, that is disrespectful to the protagonist, but like something needs to happen where she slowly starts to mellow down so that the romance can blossom, if you want to portray a romance. But if you want to portray like something realistic that's like Tinder hookup culture, I mean, I guess this is the way to do it, right? Like, this is the HR lady, and I think like the main problem is that they're turning the female characters into a simulacrum of a man. Right? And the thing is, like, if they were to do this with men, if they would turn men into simulacrums of women, I think also romance wouldn't work. Like, if you had this guy, which was incredibly feminine and very femboy-like, and this absolutely gorgeous, stunning, 10 out of 10 waifu, who's surrounded by other chads, decides to know, like, she's going to only focus on him, and is only going to try to convince him to love her, like, that would also be viewed as fake. That would also not fit, because we actually do go outside, we do touch grass, and we notice how other people behave, and we do not find representations of what you're trying to depict in the setting in real life. Like, human beings just don't act this way, so this is why it comes off as wrong. And of course, unlike in Herbert's books, she keeps insulting Paul, and apparently, in book, Paul meditates to see the jihad he's going to because he fears doing it. He waffles on which path because of this, and in the film, through a combination of needing to tell those thoughts to the audience and being unable to have a simple love interest, prize for Paul to win, Chani nags him until he actually ends up saying what he's thinking. But like, what's also interesting is that she also nags Paul's mom, which modern women see as some great achievement, winning against the mother to take her place as the alpha nag. So rather than the amazing book-ending quote of mom saying to Chani, history will see us as wives, we get Chani pout-ending. Right, so again, like, all these things are being done in anime perfectly, and it's why a lot of men like anime romance, despite the fact that, you know, when you think about romance genre, you think of women, you think of 50 Shades of Grey, you think of Twilight, but there's a lot of anime like Rental Girlfriend, Wuzaki-chan, you know, Wuzaki wants to hang out, like all these other things that are attracting male audience, because the emotions there are being displayed by people, by screenwriters that actually know humanity and they actually know how human beings react with. Like, I would hate to be an 18-year-old boy again and having to watch, these types of Hollywood movies that really do not understand the human element. They really do not understand humanity at all. And they're portraying like this bizarre culture where most people just don't find themselves in. Like, unless you're someone from California that's really rooted into these queer romances, or you really like this type of hookup culture where your interest is not to start a life with another person, but it's just to hook up for casual sex, you're not going to find anything you like in these movies. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.